Now that we're tracking whether the user is verified or not, let's go ahead and change the NavBar so that if the user is not verified, they get a link to send the verification email again. And let's start with this GetUser functionality. So GetUsername right now just returns the username as a piece of text. But we really want to do more than that. We actually want to return both the username and the role, and possibly some additional information later on. But for now, let's go ahead and, instead of just returning a piece of text, we're going to return a JSON object. So we'll start by including the header for content type application/JSON. And then we're going to go ahead and create a new object. So object is new standard class. And then let's add some properties to it. So the object pointer username is going to be equal to that. And we also need to get the role. So actually, let's look at the GetUser method. So for GetUser, right now we're just returning the session username, but we probably also want to have one that returns the role. So let's track that on the session as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this function. And we'll have getRole. And we should already have a role key. Let's make sure. No, we don't have a role key, so let's add one. Okay. And then we also want to store the role in the session. So in setUser, let's go ahead and have a set role. And that's going to take a role. And then when the user registers, we're going to set the role to be user. And we have a constant for that. That's going to be user colon, actually user role value. And let's make sure that we're using user role value everywhere we need to. Let's actually pass that in to add user as well. And then in DB add user, we'll pass in the role. And use that here. And we're also going to want to use the constants for these, but I'll come back and clean all that stuff up later. So we're passing in the user role value. We're setting the role to user role value. And then in login, we also want to do the same thing. So this pointer set role to be role, which is actually $user user colon role. So let's go ahead and add this pointer role is user user role, and we'll add a property for that. And then here we'll set role this pointer role. Okay, so if they log in or register, that sets the role as well as the username, and then we have a get role. So in get username, we'll set object pointer username, and we'll also set object pointer role equal user : get role, and then we'll echo the JSON encode of object. So now we're returning a JSON object with two properties when we call get username, and that happens in the NavBar code. So in this update NavBar, so this data thing coming back is always going to be an object, and it may have an empty username property. So if data.username is equal that, else we got a username. And then here we're going to set the username in the NavBar, and we also want to have right after here a link for the verification code. So basically what we want to do is # verify. So this is going to hide the verify link, and then this is going to show the verify link. So if they're not verified, we want to show the link. If they are verified, we want to hide the link. So if data.role is equal, and then if it's just user, that means they're unverified. Else, they're already verified. So here, we're going to add class or remove class hidden to show the verify link. And here, we're going to add class hidden to hide the link. So now we need to add a link. And right now I'm not going to actually make it do anything. I'm just going to include it in the HTML so I can see it. And I'm going to put it right before the username in this list. It will actually come after the username because they're being floated right. So here's the username. I'm going to add the verified link too. So ID is verify, and everything else is the same. Let's take a look at that, see how it looks. Okay, so that broke it. Let's take a look at what if we got an error. Nope. So let's go ahead and load that directly. That's assets includes NavBar content.php. So here's our error. Undefined variable data in NavBar content on line 46. Oh, that's not PHP, that's JavaScript. Okay, so there we go. All right, so that looks like the right object coming back. So I'm verified, so I don't get a verified link. I'm gonna log out, sign up, create a new account. Okay, it seemed to have an error. So mark 7. And here's the error I have coming back. Undefined variable user in shared database on line 55. Oh, yeah, that's actually role. I don't know why I typed user there. Username, email, hash, role. So let's try this again with mark 8. And that worked. So now I'm not logged in. Actually, I do want to have the verify your account on the other side of here. So let me flip those over. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'll do that. I'll do that in a minute. So let's go ahead and click on our verification email. Verify my account. And reload. Okay, so that's not quite working. Let's take a look at what's happening in the JavaScript code. So I'm going to put a breakpoint right there in the JavaScript and hit reload. So we have our data, and it's got a role as user, username Mark. So let's take a look at what's going on in the database. And that was Mark 8. So Mark 8 should be verified. Oh, so when you verify, you have to actually store that in the session object. So that's what I forgot to do. So if we got here, that means we're verified. So we'll actually, was that static? I think that was static. Nope, it's just a regular function. So we'll call this pointer set role to user verified role value. Okay. So now let's go ahead and hit reload. And we should have, yeah, verified for the role. And we don't get the link, so we'll log out, sign up. Let's try mark 9. Okay, and I have the verification link. And then let's go ahead and get the email and click. And I'm verified and I don't get the link.